You can be in the middle of chaos and still be calm, or you can sit in silence and still destroy yourself. The difference is whether you control the storm within or let it control you. The storm is not the people shouting around you, not the deadlines pressing in, not even the sudden blows life throws your way. The real storm is inside, and the mistake most people make is believing they are fighting the outside world, when in truth, they are fighting their own reactions to it. You can be in the middle of chaos, surrounded by noise, and still be calm if your inner world remains untouched. And you can also be in a perfectly quiet room, yet destroy yourself with your own racing thoughts, doubts, and fears. This is the first truth of control. You never lose because of the storm around you. You lose because you failed to anchor the storm within. Most people break before the first move is even made. They panic at the hint of criticism. They flinch at the sight of pressure. They crumble not because they were defeated, but because they defeated themselves. The enemy does not need to strike if you are already tearing yourself apart with worry and fear. It is why the strongest people are rarely the loudest or the busiest. They are the ones who look untouched, even when the world is falling apart. They have learned that control is not about stopping the storm, but about refusing to let it enter. Every argument, every attack, every unexpected turn in life starts first in your head. Someone insults you, and before anyone else reacts, your mind starts spinning. Did I deserve that? Should I fire back? What will people think of me? In that tiny gap between their words and your response, the whole battle is decided. The weak rush to defend, to explain, to fill the silence with nervous words. The strong do the opposite. They hold still. They let the wave crash without moving, and in that stillness, they reveal that the storm never reached them. Control begins with silence, and silence begins inside. When your breathing slows instead of quickens, when your thoughts remain steady instead of scattered, when you choose to wait instead of rush, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are making the world react to you. People mistake this calm for indifference, but it is not. It is strength, it is power. It is the ability to choose your response instead of being dragged by emotion. The truth is, chaos does not defeat you because it is strong. Chaos defeats you because you let it shape your feelings. You hand over control the moment you allow outside noise to dictate your inside state. But when you learn to anchor yourself, to hold a calm mind even when voices rise and tempers flare, you create something rare. You create presence. People feel it even before they understand it. They see you sitting still when others fidget, speaking slow when others rush, breathing calm when others lose control. And they realize you are not just surviving the storm, you have already mastered it. The first rule of control is simple, but very few ever master it. Do not match the energy that is thrown at you. Most people live like mirrors, reflecting whatever they receive. Someone shouts at them and they shout back. Someone panics and they panic too. Someone shows anger and they mirror that anger instantly, believing they are standing up for themselves. But all they are really doing is giving away control. The one who reacts first loses, and the one who mirrors chaos reveals that he is not his own master, but a puppet pulled by the strings of another. Think about how fights start. Rarely does one person alone cause it to explode. It is the reaction, the mirrored response that sets the fire ablaze. One person throws shade, the other throws it back, and before long, both are consumed. But imagine a different path. Imagine someone shouting at you with their face red and their voice rising, and instead of shouting back, you stay still. You let the words fly past you without landing. In that moment, you don't just keep control, you take it. The entire room feels the difference, because power doesn't come from who speaks the loudest, but from who cannot be moved. Matching energy may feel natural. We are trained from childhood to defend ourselves, to respond in kind, to fight fire with fire. But fire against fire only spreads flames, and soon both sides are burned. The one who refuses to match, who instead answers fire with calm, panic with stillness, anger with quiet composure, rises above the fight entirely. They become the steady ground others lean on when the floor feels shaky. This is why in moments of crisis, people instinctively look for the one who is calm. Not because they explained more, not because they fought harder, but because they refuse to mirror chaos. When you do not match energy, you change the frame. The one trying to provoke you starts to look unstable. Their raised voice echoes against your calmness. Their agitation looks exaggerated when placed against your stillness. The more they try to drag you in, the more obvious it becomes that they are the ones out of control. And the crowd, whether it's 2 people at a table or 20 in a meeting, always notices. People don to remember what was said as much as they remember who looked shaken and who looked untouchable. The rule is this: when they go high or low, you go still. Not because you are afraid to act, but because you know that movement on their terms is surrender. By holding your ground, you force them to play against themselves. Their noise becomes their downfall, while your quiet becomes your weapon. This is not weakness, it is strategy. It is the art of never letting someone else write your script. Once you master it, you realize the truth. Control isn't about dominating others. It's about never being dragged into their storm. And the one who stays still while everyone else spins becomes the one everyone follows. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the strongest moves you can make. When everyone else fills the room with noise, trying to prove themselves, trying to outtalk one another, trying to dominate with words, the one who stays still shifts the balance of power. People read silence as strength, as composure, as unshakable confidence. It is not the absence of action, it is the presence of control. Words are easy, anyone can throw them out, but silence is rare because silence requires discipline. It shows that you are not desperate to explain, not eager to convince, not shaken enough to react. Think about the times you have seen someone stay silent after being challenged. The whole room turns to them, waiting for a reply, waiting for movement, waiting for proof of how they feel. And when nothing comes, the silence itself becomes the statement. People lean in, they second-guess, they wonder what is happening behind that calm exterior. The one who speaks first reveals their hand, but the one who holds silence forces everyone else to imagine what might come. And what the mind imagines is often far more powerful than anything you could have said. Silence also exposes others. When someone throws accusations, when someone tries to provoke you, they expect a reaction. They want to see you rush to defend yourself. They want to see you panic and stumble over your words. They want to feel that their attack landed. But if you remain quiet, they are left holding their own weapon. The more they repeat themselves, the more unstable they look. The more they demand your attention, the more desperate they appear. Without you saying a word, they have put themselves on trial, and the crowd begins to see it. In silence, you create space, and in that space, people reveal themselves. They reveal their insecurities, their impatience, their lack of composure. You don't have to fight them because they fight themselves. That is the hidden strength of silence. It makes the noise of others look cheap. It makes their rush to be heard look emotional. And it makes your calm look like command. Silence does not mean doing nothing. It means choosing when to act, when to speak, when to move. It means valuing presence over reaction. A steady gaze, a relaxed posture, a calm breath, all of it sends signals louder than words ever could. People feel it, even if they cannot explain it. They sense you are unshaken, and that feeling grows into respect and often into fear. In the end, silence is not passive, it is decisive. It is the move that says I am in control here, not because I proved it with noise, but because I didn't need to. And that is why silence, used with presence, is always louder than words. Authority is not just in the words you speak, it is in the way you carry yourself when you say nothing. People may listen to what you say, but they believe what they see. If your voice is strong but your body shows panic, the crowd feels the panic. If your words are sharp but your eyes dart nervously, they sense weakness. Control is not only about your speech, it is about the calm face you present when the storm is at its loudest. The unshaken gaze, the slow breath, the relaxed posture, these are signals that you are not moved. And in a world where everyone is quick to flinch, the one who does not becomes the authority in the room. Think about a leader in crisis. The team is in chaos, voices are rising, fear is spreading. Everyone is looking for answers, but before they hear a single word, they are watching his face. If they see worry, they absorb it. If they see anger, they mirror it. But if they see calm, even when everything is falling apart, they start to believe that everything can be managed. Authority is not only about knowing what to do, it is about making people believe you do. And nothing does that faster than composure. Your gaze is a weapon in itself. When you look steady, unbroken, unhurried, it tells people you are not afraid. They can shout, accuse, pressure, yet your eyes say nothing has entered your mind that you did not allow. Your breath matters too. Shallow, fast breaths reveal fear, while slow, steady ones announce certainty. Posture, the way you sit or stand, sends messages louder than explanations ever could. The one who slouches, fidgets, or stiffens gives away control. The one who remains loose yet grounded becomes the center everyone orbits around. People aren't watching the storm. They are watching whether it moved you. They measure their own fear against your calm. They decide how serious a situation is by reading your face. This is why authority is built in silence before it is proven in words. You don't have to tell people you are confident if they can see it in your stillness. You don't have to say you are strong if your presence already declares it. When you hold composure, you change the atmosphere. The storm outside may be loud, but your stillness becomes louder. Those who tried to provoke you start to feel foolish because their noise collapses when it is not mirrored. Those who were afraid begin to steady themselves because they borrow strength from your calm. In that way, control is not about dominating others. It is about mastering yourself so fully that others cannot help but follow. Authority is not a crown placed on your head. It is the reflection of the way you hold yourself when tested. And the calm face, the steady breath, the quiet gaze, these are the marks of someone who has already won the inner battle, and because of that, commands the outer one as well. Most people rush to respond because silence makes them uncomfortable. They feel the need to fill every gap, to prove they have an answer ready, to show they are not shaken. But rushing is exactly what makes them weak. They speak before they think. They reveal their emotions before they want to. They give away control without even realizing it. The one who has mastered control understands the power of delay. A pause, a breath, a beat of silence. These are not empty spaces. They are weapons. They shift the pressure onto the other side and force people to show more of themselves than they intended. Imagine someone throwing an accusation at you in a meeting. The average person jumps in quickly, desperate to correct the record, desperate to explain, desperate to end the tension. But the controlled person waits. He lets the words hang in the air. He takes a breath, he studies the room, and in those few seconds, the balance of power changes. Everyone expects him to defend himself, but his pause makes them lean in, makes them wonder what is coming. And in that gap, the accuser starts to feel exposed. Their own words echo back at them. Their own energy looks more emotional. Their own confidence begins to shrink. Delay is not weakness, it is strategy. It gives you time to think, to choose your words carefully, to respond on your terms instead of theirs. More importantly, it makes the other side reveal themselves. The longer you hold the silence, the more they rush to fill it. They explain, they justify, they add details that betray their insecurities. You did not have to press them, you simply waited, and they pressed themselves. The power of delay also works in everyday life. In arguments, the person who speaks last often appears to win, not because they were right, but because they let the other side exhaust themselves first. In negotiation, the one who can sit with silence forces the other to break it with concessions. In personal conflict, the one who pauses before replying avoids saying things they will regret, and often makes the other person reconsider their tone. Delay is discipline, and discipline always looks like strength. People confuse quickness with intelligence, but quickness often comes from fear. The fear of being misunderstood, the fear of looking weak, the fear of losing ground. True strength does not fear waiting. It knows that every pause adds weight to what comes after. A delayed response does not just answer, it defines. And when you do finally speak, your words carry 10 times more impact because they came after silence. The truth is, most people destroy themselves by rushing. They reveal too much too soon. The controlled person does the opposite. He waits. He lets the silence burn. He lets the other side unravel. And only when the moment is right does he move. By then, the battle is already won, because delay is not hesitation. It is the sharpest form of control. When people lose control, they believe they are pulling you into their storm, but the truth is they are only exposing themselves. The mistake most make is to meet chaos with chaos, to argue, to raise their voice, to match the energy thrown at them. This only blurs the lines because now both look unstable, and the crowd sees no difference between attacker and target. The stronger move is not to fight the chaos but to reflect it. When someone loses control, you stay calm, and your calm becomes a mirror that bounces their emotions back onto them. Anger then looks like instability. Panic looks like weakness, and the crowd quietly shifts their judgment without you lifting a finger. Think about an argument where one person is furious, shouting, pointing, blaming. If you respond in the same tone, you look just as emotional and the message gets lost in the noise. But if you remain still, if your face stays relaxed, if your voice stays even, something powerful happens. Their anger has nothing to feed on. Their panic looks exaggerated. Their accusations echo in the room unanswered, and people begin to question, not you, but them. They begin to look like someone unraveling in public, while you look like someone who cannot be shaken. This is the secret of reflection. You do not absorb their chaos, you simply let it rebound back to its source. They hope to make you look small, but instead, their own behavior shrinks them. They wanted to see you lose control, but your composure highlights that they are the only one spiraling. It is not about humiliating them. It is about refusing to play the game on their terms. By holding still, you force them to reveal their hand again and again until they collapse under the weight of their own emotions. Calmness in the face of chaos does more than protect you. It magnifies the imbalance of the other side. The louder they get, the more foolish they appear next to your silence. The more desperate they act, the more composed you seem without saying a word. In every crowd, people are not only listening, they are watching. They measure who is in control, not by who talks the most, but by who looks untouchable. And nothing makes someone look untouchable more than staying steady when someone else is falling apart. Reflection also gives you time. Instead of rushing to argue, you gain space to see the situation clearly. You see their weakness, their desperation, their cracks. While they drown in emotion, you collect yourself, and when you finally choose to respond, you can do so with precision. One calm phrase, one measured response, carries far more impact than a storm of words shouted in defense. In the end, turning chaos into a mirror is not about silence alone. It is about presence. It is about making people feel the difference between your steadiness and their instability. And when that contrast becomes clear, they are judged by their loss of control, while you are remembered for never losing yours. Most people believe that the way to deal with an attack is to explain themselves. They rush into long sentences, justifications, and clarifications, hoping that if they provide enough detail, the other person will understand and back down. But this rarely happens. In fact, the more you explain, the more guilty you appear, because explanation is a reaction, and reaction always looks like weakness. The stronger move is not to defend, but to redirect. Instead of meeting their accusation with proof, you turn the spotlight back onto them. A short, calm phrase like, "If that S how you see it," or "Tell me more," shifts the weight of the moment. Suddenly you are no longer under fire, they are. This tactic works because people who attack expect resistance. They want to see you scramble. They want to watch you prove yourself. They want to feel that they have power over your emotions. But when you do not give them that, when you simply redirect their words back to them, they are left exposed. Their attack hangs in the air, demanding to be supported, demanding to be explained, demanding to stand on its own. Most of the time it cannot, and the attacker is forced to reveal more than they planned. Think about a conversation where someone says you are arrogant. The natural response is to argue, to list reasons why you are not, to bring up examples of your humility. But none of that matters, because in arguing you have already accepted their frame. The redirection move is different. You stay calm, you look at them, and you say, "If that's how you see it." Nothing else. The energy bounces back onto them, and suddenly it is not you who must prove, but them. They may try again, but with each attempt, they begin to look more emotional, more unstable, while your stillness grows heavier with authority. Redirection without defense is not avoidance. It is control. It says, "I will not let you decide the terms of this interaction. I will not let you dictate the frame. If you want to attack, you will have to carry it yourself." This forces the accuser into the very position they hope to put you in. Now they are explaining. Now they are justifying. Now they are scrambling to keep their story alive while you remain untouched. The brilliance of redirection lies in its simplicity. You do not need clever comebacks or long speeches. The shortest phrases carry the most weight when delivered with composure. Tell me more. Interesting perspective. Noted. Each one ends the attack without engaging in it. Each one leaves the other person struggling to find footing. In the end, redirection without defense is about refusing to play the game of explanation. You don't convince, you don't beg, you don't prove. You hold still, you shift the spotlight, and you let the attacker perform their own collapse. And when the dust settles, it is not your defense people remember, it is your calm. Noise always feels powerful in the moment. A loud voice, a sharp insult, a sudden outburst, these things grab attention instantly. People turn their heads, they lean in, they react. But noise burns out as quickly as it rises. Shouting fades, insults are forgotten, and outbursts lose their force once silence follows. What remains after the noise is not the words themselves, but the impression left behind. And this is where presence proves itself stronger than any storm. Presence lingers. It stays in the room after the shouting has stopped. It lives in people's memory long after the words are gone. And it belongs to the one who stayed unshaken. Most people confuse winning with dominating the moment. They believe if they can speak louder, argue harder, or react faster, they will come out on top. But the real win is not in the noise, it is in the aftermath. When the dust settles, no one remembers the exact lines that were thrown, but everyone remembers who looked rattled and who didn't. Authority is measured not in volume, but in composure. And the one who held still, who kept their voice steady, who never flinched, becomes the one everyone looks back on as the true center of power. Presence is not something you beg for. It is something you build. It is the weight you carry into a room that makes people notice without you saying a word. It is the calm that spreads when you do not match chaos with chaos. It is the certainty that comes from knowing you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. Presence does not rise quickly, but once it is formed, it outlasts every outburst. When people argue and then look around for judgment, it is your stillness that frames the entire scene. Think about a heated meeting where tempers flare. Voices clash, interruptions pile up, people throw sharp comments across the table. The one who jumps into the storm looks like part of it, but the one who waits, who speaks only after the noise dies, becomes the one people listen to. His words are remembered not because they were louder, but because they came after silence, wrapped in authority. The storm faded, but his presence stayed. Outbursts can shake the air for a moment, but they cannot hold the room. Only presence can do that, and presence comes from control, from patience, from the refusal to be pulled into every small fight. It comes from the understanding that storms always pass, and that the person who holds steady while they rage becomes stronger when they are over. People respect the one who can remain calm while others fall apart, because it proves a kind of strength that noise can never fake. In the end, storms fade, but presence lingers. The controlled person does not just win the moment, they win the memory. And when people look back, they do not ask who shouted the loudest, they remember who stayed unshaken. The highest level of control is not simply silence, it is something far greater. It is the aura you carry. The invisible presence that tells people you cannot be moved no matter what is thrown at you. Silence can be used as a tool, composure can be practiced in moments of chaos, but aura is different. Aura is who you become after long discipline, after training yourself to resist the pull of reaction, after learning to sit still when the world wants you to flinch. At this stage, you no longer need to prove calmness because it radiates from you naturally. People feel it before you speak, and because of that, they stop trying to shake you. They already know they will lose before they even begin. The untouchable state is not coldness. It is not about shutting yourself off from the world or refusing to care. It is about being so secure in yourself that nothing outside can reach in and control your emotions. Attacks, insults, even praise, none of these can move you from your center. People see this, and they sense danger in it. They sense that you are beyond influence, beyond manipulation, beyond the ordinary games that most people play. And once they sense that, their approach changes. They stop testing you, they stop baiting you because they know the outcome is already decided. When you reach this state, your presence alone becomes enough to command respect. You don't need long explanations. You don't need to raise your voice, you don't even need to argue. People believe in your strength because they can feel it. They can see it in your eyes that do not dart, in your breath that never quickens, in the way you move slowly when others rush. Even your smallest actions carry weight because they are backed by the certainty of someone who cannot be moved. The untouchable state also makes others defend you without being asked. Because you no longer fight your own battles, people around you feel the urge to step in. They sense the injustice of attacks against someone who does not react, and they turn their voices into your shield. This is the paradox of power. The less you defend yourself, the more others defend you. The less you try to control people, the more they feel compelled to align with you. You rise not by demanding respect, but by embodying something that people instinctively respect. In the end, the untouchable state is about aura, not effort. It is about becoming the person who does not just survive storms, but who no longer attracts them, because storms cannot move mountains. Once you reach this point, your reputation stops being about what others say. It becomes about what people feel when they stand near you, and that feeling is caution, reverence, respect, sometimes even fear. Not because you fought for it, but because you became the kind of person who never needs to fight at all. Maybe this video helped you see yourself or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.